regular verbs o verbos regulares. Spanish is very easy to understand because many verbs and words in English are similar to the Spanish words. Verbs, verbos, regular, regulares. That's because Spanish comes from Latin and a lot of English comes from Latin as well. So as we advance, you'll see that many words are similar. Today we're going to learn about regular verbs. These are ways of conjugating all regular verbs. There are three kinds of regular verbs in Spanish. Verbs that end with AR, verbs that end with ER, and verbs that end with IR. The most popular kind of verbs are the AR verbs, maybe 65–70%. The ER verbs are maybe 25 or 30%, and the IR verbs maybe only 5% of verbs in Spanish. So let's begin. The first verb we're going to talk about is hablar. Hablar is the verb to speak or to talk. Well, these are regular verbs because the root of the verb is the same. The only thing we have to learn are the different endings. Now this is a little different from English. In English we say I speak, you speak, he speaks, we speak. Well, in Spanish, every person we speak about has a different ending on the verb. When we talk about myself, yo, the verb always ends with o. Yo hablo. I speak. When you're talking about the second verb, comer. Comer is the Spanish verb to eat. Very important. I eat, yo como. The third verb is vivir. Remember, the V sounds like a B in Spanish. Vivir is the verb to live. Yo vivo. Yo vivo. I live. You will notice that all the regular verbs that end with yo have an O at the end. Yo hablo, yo como, yo vivo. Now we'll get to you. Tú. The AR verbs, we end them with AS. Tú hablas. Tú hablas. You speak. The ER verbs we end with ES. Right? Tú comes. Tú comes. You eat. The IR verbs end with, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking we're going to write an I here. Well, logical, but it doesn't work that way this time. The IR verb is conjugated the same way as the ER verb. We just add an E. ES, so vives, you live. Él, ella, and usted, remember he, she, and you, the formal you, are always conjugated with the same form of each verb. Él, we just throw an A on the end. Habla, he speaks. Ella habla, she speaks. Usted habla, you speak. When we get to the ER verb, comer, we put an E on the end. Él come, he eats. Ella come, she eats. Usted come, you eat. And the IR verb, nope, no I here. Again, we stick with the letter E. Él vive, he lives. Ella vive, she lives. Usted vive, you live. So far, so good. Now let's get into the longer ones. Nosotros, we, the ending is A, M, O, S. Nosotros hablamos, we speak. Nosotros hablamos español, we speak Spanish. Nosotros hablamos inglés, we speak English. The verb comer, hemos. comemos. We eat. Nosotros comemos. We eat. And the IR verb, what are we going to put here? Not an E. This is where we put the I. The only time we use an I with the IR verb is in the nosotros form. So we're going to write down nosotros vivimos en Canadá. We live in Canada. Nosotros vivimos en Mexico. We live in Mexico. Right? Ellos, ellas y ustedes, they masculine, they feminine, and you plural. What do we do here? Well, we write it almost the same way as we do for the singular, he speaks. The only difference is now we add the letter N. Hablan. Ellos hablan. They speak. Ellas hablan. They speak. Ustedes hablan español. You speak Spanish. Over here with the verb comer, the same form as the el form here, we just add again the letter N. Ellos comen. They eat. Ellas comen. They eat. Ustedes comen. You eat. The IR verb. What vowel are we going to use? We're going to take the same form as he, and we're just going to add N. Ellos viven. They live. Ellas viven. They live. Ustedes viven. You, plural, live. Simple. You need to memorize those endings. And when you see a verb in Spanish, you have to look at the ending. Is it a? Is it e? Or is it e? And that will tell you how to write the correct ending on the verb when you're speaking or writing a sentence. Remember though, these pronouns are optional in Spanish. So I could tell you, nosotros hablamos español, we speak Spanish, or simply, hablamos español. And it means the same thing.